We live in a world scorched with disdain, suffering and pain. A world with atrocities and adversities. So much so that what can go a long way is a little generosity. At Citizens Leader Lab, we advocate for love, unity, peace and respect, where everyone has a bright future ahead. We live in a world scorched with disdain, suffering and pain. A world with atrocities and adversities. So much so that what can go a long way is a little generosity. At Citizens Leader Lab, we advocate for love, unity, peace and respect, where everyone has a bright future ahead.
Eden Daniels. I'll tell you a little more about myself, but the moment is for the kids right now, right? So let's welcome Rose Mead Primary Choir. Let's welcome them to the stage. but I don't think the mic is on. Is it on? Fortunately, I am a teacher and I have a teacher's voice. So yeah, I can shout across a field and you'll hear me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Eden Daniels and I'm very, very honored and humbled to have been invited to be the MC. Don't you just love these kids? This is why we are here tonight. It's to celebrate our learners and to make sure they get every opportunity possible. I just love the dancers who thought, no, we won't be restricted. Let's kick down some walls and whatever. So they definitely made sure the choir even has enough space. So wonderful Rosemead Primary. I am a school principal appointed at a school called Herengracht Primary School. A strange situation, I'm caretaking at another school. And if you want to ask me how that works, it's a long story, but it's a crazy story. When you're appointed at one school, but you're going to help the other school, and you're between these two schools, one school is enough, more than enough. So yeah, I've had the experience of working with two schools more or less at the same time, and it has been hectic, crazy, crazy, crazy. And what I love about what I do is, and I must really say thank you to Partners for Possibility, because when I got onto the bandwagon of Partners, and I got a partner, I think it was in 2019, am I right? Was it 2018? Oh, so long, my word. It was in 2018 where I was partnered with a fantastic lady from Nedbank, and the experiences was awesome. Absolutely nothing like I expected. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that experience as we go on, but I really want to say Partners for Possibility and your team, Citizen Leader Lab, you are doing a magnificent work. You are doing an awesome job, and I'm so glad I know Komala. And you'll hear where and all that. So I actually found out about Partners for Possibility at SAPA, the South African Principals Association, which is right now, I am the Deputy President in Gauteng. And the thing is with, okay, thank you. It helps us reach out to so many principals. And through Partners for Possibility, we can even reach businesses. And that is really, really, really phenomenal. And I'm thinking this choir, we're always looking for choirs to sing at our conferences, and yeah, I've got a choir to go. I can go back and say, I've got another choir. Rosemead, you did very, very well. Let's give Rosemead Primary another round of applause. Now, what are we here to celebrate? Got a few pointers here. We are here to celebrate our achievement over the years. We are here for rebranding process and new strategies plus new products. We are here to impact the work across South Africa. And I like that Partners for Possibility is not just a Gauteng thing. Collaboration and partnership, that is so important. Because when you start out as a principal and a business leader, everybody thinks, oh, there's money coming into the school, let's get excited. And you don't realize at the end what you really, really got. I got skills. I learned so much. My hand was taken, and I was guided through such an amazing learning process with leadership and everything with my partner. I am still using that, but 3 years later with both schools. Now, we're also here to celebrate our founders, and I believe our founders are a bit shy. They don't want to be celebrated because they feel the principals and the business leaders should be celebrated. That's what I was told. But I believe if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So we're here to celebrate our founders, the team, and the community at large. I want us to, at this moment, welcome the beautiful CEO Komala Pillay, whom I met when I joined Partners. Komala was one of our business leaders. She was paired up with one of the principals in our area, with Ilana Heredin, and what she did for that school and how she capacitated that principal. And that principal used to be a teacher that I was her HOD at one stage, and she was a young teacher that was learning the ropes and so forth. And I'm amazed at the amazing things that Lana does now. Is one of the reasons is because you've really helped her and give her the courage and everything she needed to be the best principal she can be. So Komala is going to talk about the vision and mission of this organization, and she's going to give us, well, I'm not going to take over your speech. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the beautiful Komala Pillay.
Hi everyone. I'm not sure if I am as audible as Eden. People in the back, can you hear me okay? Okay, perfect. I was going to say, Eden, what happens in the circle stays in the circle.
Okay.
But it's okay. I must also
too late
say,
now.
It's too late. Well, I'm not sure what else you can say tonight. I must also say, Ilana is an absolutely amazing principal. I supported her, but definitely a lot of what she did is down to her. So just acknowledgement there. So hi everyone. It's lovely to be with you all this evening. Thank you all, everyone in the room, for braving this load-shedding traffic and making your way out to join us in person. We are doing something different today. We're live streaming this event, and there'll be a whole host of people online right now watching us. It would be amazing if you could just leave a comment, say something, who you are, what do you think about the conversation. It'll be lovely to engage with you in that way. So one of the philosophies of our organization, and we say it often, it's connection before content. So I know that I'm a new face to many of you in the room, so I thought it'd be good, let's have a little bit of connection. So let me share a little bit about me before we get into the content. So as Eden has said, my name is Komala Pillay. A lot of people ask me some connection to the American president. Yes, vice president. Yes, the name is very similar. No, there's no relation. That's not how first names work, right, people? We all know that. I live in Joburg, actually not too far away from Roseneath. And I've lived here long enough to feel like a Joburger. I love the energy of the city, the interesting mix of people that the city attracts. Most of us come from somewhere else. I'm originally from KZN, born and bred. Yes, I'm a die-hard Shark supporter. Sorry, Lions. I've lived, I'm born and bred in KZN in Durban. I've lived and worked in the Free State in Mpumalanga. I've also, through my previous corporate career, had opportunity to live and study and work in the Netherlands and in Germany. And through that corporate career, I've also had a wonderful opportunity to travel and see amazing places around the world. But I can say to you very confidently, there's no place like home. There's no place like South Africa. We live in an amazing country with beautiful people. I've been now with the organization for 2.5 years. As I was saying to some people, sometimes it feels like I've been here for a decade. Sometimes it feels like I've been here for just a few days. My personal journey with the organization, however, started in 2018, as Eden has been telling you, when I was partnered as a business leader on the program, while I was still working in corporate. And I was partnered with an absolutely amazing school principal in Klipspruit West in Soweto. And I had a life-changing experience. Now, I know many of you in the room are PFPs. That's what we call our participants in the program. So you know exactly what I mean when I say Partners with Possibility is life-changing. So my Partners with Possibility experience led me to make quite a big change in my life. Some might say quite a big risk. And that was to move out of what was, to be quite honest, a very comfortable corporate career, to leave that and move to this medium-sized NGO that was a small organization making a big impact. I got a lot of questions about this change. I know my mom especially was very concerned. But I joined this organization in 2.5 years ago. So those of you who are quick with maths will have worked out that was in May 2020. So May 2020, I think you remember, it was the start of the pandemic. Nobody knew what was happening next. Everybody was worried about running out of toilet paper. And I left and joined this organization. And I was actually at the time not concerned about my decision. A lot of people asked me, like, why are you doing this? I hadn't taken the decision lightly. It was informed by my experience with the organization through the program. And it was clear to me, and it's clear to me even now, it's even clearer today, it was definitely the right decision. For those of us who are passionate South Africans, who are passionate Africans, who want to make, who want a better future for everyone living in the southernmost tip of Africa, who want peace and prosperity for ourselves and for our loved ones, it's clear, right? We have to start making a contribution and finding ways to create the future we want. Nobody else is going to create that for us. There's no Superman flying in to save the day. And what I've learned over the last 2.5 years now, formally with the organization and another 2 years prior to that informally, everyone's contribution is going to be different. And everyone's contribution is needed and will add value. So being a business leader on the Partners for Possibility program, that was my first step to making a bigger contribution to the challenges that our country faces. And joining this community was the second. And I must share with you that I have gained far more than I expected I would. I get to work with a team, and they're sprinkled all around the room. I get to work with a team of highly passionate, talented individuals who really care about a better future for our country. I get to meet and work with the most amazing and inspiring leaders, from our former CEO and founder, Louise van Rijn, to our co-founder, Principal Ridwan Samodian, international and local thought leaders in leadership, the many amazing PFPs sitting in the room today, the partners who fund our work, and the other social change organizations that we collaborate with. It strikes me when I look at this group of people in this community that we're not poor, we're not third world, we're not struggling. When I look around me, I see abundance, I see collaboration, I see incredible leaders who are making a difference, who are making a change. Now, I facilitated a conversation earlier this year with Dr. Roel Khoza. He's an academic, very deep thinker, internationally recognized thought leader on leadership. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to read one of his books. You will need a dictionary to support it. He's a great writer. He said something in that webinar that really struck me. He said, it's time for Africa to stop being a developing continent. It's time for us to stop being less than everyone else. It's time for Africa to live up to our potential and to start leading globally. And why not? I can see it happening right here in this room with the people here. Our PFPs are creating better futures for our schools and our community, one school at a time, one community at a time. So no, I haven't lost, I've gained so much, and I feel so blessed to be part of this community. So that's my little bit of connection. I hope we'll get a chance to connect a bit more after the event. On to the content. So our organization has gone through a few changes over the last 2 years, and this is a good opportunity, our first in-person Gauteng celebration since 2019. It's a good opportunity to share with you what's been happening. We've had a leadership transition, our founder Louise stepping down early in 2021 after putting her heart and soul into the organization for over 10 years. As a new team, we decided to sit together, bring in the new fresh faces, bring in the old hands with experience. Firstly, we wanted to recognize and celebrate the achievements of the first 12 years of the organization. And then we wanted to define what does success look like for the next 12 years. So the first thing we did was celebrate the impact we've had with Partners for Possibility. Easily our best known program, highly acclaimed work. As of end of October 2022, we've worked with 1,775 school leaders across the country. Since the start of COVID, thanks to Poor, since the start of COVID, we've been able to support over 530 new school leaders. I had to double check that number when I discovered that, because we all know how tough it's been with COVID. So I'm really proud of the team for what we achieved. 530 new school leaders brought onto the PFP program over COVID. We've now reached a point, and the stats up there say it well. Since 2010, we've directly impacted 3,500 school principals and business leaders together, and we've indirectly impacted over 50,000 educators and more than 1.4 million children. It's something that is only possible due to everyone's contribution, and I do think that it deserves a round of applause. So that was the first part of our conversation as the new team, celebrating what has been achieved. The next thing that we did was reflecting on who we are as an organization. And it was clear from our reflection that we are a leadership development organization. We believe that conscious, competent, and ethical leadership, and I'll say that again because I think that's really important, conscious, competent, and ethical leadership. That's required at all levels in our country to unlock the potential of our people and what this country has to offer. What emerged from those conversations was a new vision, purpose, mission, and an updated strategy, something that's going to be our North Star for the next 12 years. So firstly, our vision. It's quite simple. It's leadership that creates a better future for all. I think we can all agree we need that. Next, our purpose. Our purpose as an organization is to develop conscious leadership that builds social cohesion, uplifts communities, and works towards achieving a just society. And we do this, we achieve this, through innovative leadership development programs such as Partners for Possibility, and through facilitating cross-sectoral collaboration and enabling active citizenship. This is key. This is key to that future we want. We need to do this together. Our strategy, Dipuo, if you can move on. Our strategy, quite simply, is to deepen our impact in education. Education has been an area where we've made an impact over the last 12 years. There's additional work that we can do to complement Partners for Possibility, and we intend to do that. And we want to broaden our impact to other sectors. So this model that has been developed and refined in education, this model of partnering business leaders and school principals, that model can be applied in other areas. And we are currently having conversations about doing that in other sectors, such as health and municipal services. So we've started implementing this new strategy. The strategies came in place earlier this year. We started implementing the strategy already. Many of you will know of School Leadership Forum. It's one of our programs that supports our principals post-PFP. We've enhanced it this year to not just have once-off seminars, but also short courses, where we have partners such as Instructional Leadership Institute and WordWorks bringing really valuable content to our alumni. We're working on strengthening our support and collaboration platform, which we're now calling the Alumni Network. You'll hear more of this in the next few months. And we've just completed our first ever School for Community program. A year 2 continuation of the Partners for Possibility journey, but with increased focus on community engagement. And we will be piloting next year a school management training program. And we're currently developing, in partnership with a funder in Kuruman, a healthcare leadership development intervention. So all very exciting. So you'll see there some of the products up on your screen. This is part of our vision, to build on what PFP has enabled so far and to extend that even more widely and to deepen that impact. To support this next part of our journey as an organization, we've taken the decision to change the name of the organization from Symphonia to South Africa to Citizen Leader Lab. Now, if anyone asks me if they advise changing a name, I would say no, don't do it. It's a lot of work. But we decided that this was important to help people understand the next phase of our journey, to help people understand that we're an organization that are going to be rolling out all these programs and making this impact in communities. And why the name? So Citizen Leader Lab, it speaks to our core purpose of developing conscious leaders. So that's the Leader Lab part. And our mission to mobilize active citizenship. That's the Citizen Leader Lab, leader part. Lab is also a place of innovation, it's of creation. I worked in research and development for many years, and the lab was when new things were discovered. It's also an acronym for our tagline, Learn, Act, Become. And that's a reflection of our methodology that develops the whole person, the head, heart, and the hands. So that's my story, ladies and gentlemen. The next 12 years, I believe, is going to be just as exciting and impactful as the first. And I'd like to leave you with our new video on our branding.
Now I understand. And I think it's very cleverly put together, Citizen Leader Lab. I love the explanation too. And Komala, I really admire you. You've done exceptionally well in a very short period of time with your team. So well done to you. Komala actually reminds me of a book I read, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. You know, Komala was in this very grand office. I remember the first time, was it Cecil? Am I right? Yes, we went there for meetings with the partnership, and then our circle meeting was going to be there, and I was so excited. The glass offices, the grand, you even had to have an app. You went on the app to go into the building, otherwise you wouldn't get access, and everything was so fancy. I took videos, and a friend of mine said, please stop acting like that. Stop showing people you are from the township. Yeah, stop being so bar, like they say in the Aldos. But I was very excited. And when I learned that you had left all that glamour and you had come to work with the community, basically, to help principals and leaders come together, I was surprised. But I can see the joy you're getting out of this, that brave step you took. Sometimes we need to lead with the heart. So well done to you. Let's give Komala another round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on to part 2, which is community building. Now, community building, for me, has been one of the very great learning experiences. We went to a school in Soweto, our circle, and we met a fantastic presenter called Mr. Ramanaidu, and he did community building with us. There I learned a different way in which to bring stakeholders together. You'd even bring naughty children's parents together to form a community to work out solutions. And two of the words that I'll never forget is, what if? And it created so many possibilities. I used it with parents, I've used it with learners, and it's just amazing with SGBs and so forth. And I'm very grateful for what I've learned there. And to take us into the community building part of this program, we have Penny Shorzy. If Penny can just come up, let's give her a rousing round of applause. Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. How are you? All right, my name is Penny Shorzy. I'm a learning process facilitator at Citizen Leader Lab. And I'm sure that everyone here is thinking that they're just going to sit and listen and then go away and think about it. But we're not going to do that today. So today, we're going to demonstrate how you are as a community. That would mean you have to partner with someone. So 3 of you can get together because we're going to have conversations. Remember, this is about connection. And it's also about building relationships. So for you to build a relationship with anyone, you need to start having a conversation. So we're going to facilitate a conversation today where 3 of you can get together and we're going to chat about something. So if you can just arrange ourselves into groups of 3.
In a world of uncertainty and challenge, we needed to step up. We needed those who wanted to make change and were willing to make an impact. And so it began. Slowly, I started to understand that making a significant difference doesn't require a massive effort. A small action for me could mean a sustainable impact for someone else. For 25 years, a simple rainbow has brought incredible color to those who needed it most. One swipe at a time. One smile at a time. Thanks to you, South Africa, we've been able to add color, change lives, and make a difference. An impact so great that it is noticed, felt, and seen. One that has affected, changed, and transformed so many lives. And we have achieved this together through my school, my village, my planet. 1.2 million supporters. Over 90 million rand given back last year. Nearly 1 billion rand given back to date. 8,000 beneficiaries. 25 years of impact. 25 years of making a difference. In a world of uncertainty and challenge, we needed to step up. We needed those who wanted to make change and were willing to make an impact. And so it began. Slowly, I started to understand that making a significant difference doesn't require a massive effort. A small action for me could mean a sustainable impact for someone else. For 25 years, a simple rainbow has brought incredible color to those who needed it most. One swipe at a time. One smile at a time. Thanks to you, South Africa, we've been able to add color, change lives, and make a difference. An impact so great that it is noticed, felt, and seen. One that has affected, changed, and transformed so many lives. And we have achieved this together through my school, my village, my planet. .2 million supporters. Over 90 million rand given back last year. Nearly 1 billion rand given back to date. 8,000 beneficiaries. 25 years of impact. 25 years of making a difference.
We live in a world scorched with disdain, suffering and pain. A world with atrocities and adversities. So much so that what can go a long way is a little generosity. At Citizens Leader Lab, we advocate for love, unity, peace and respect. Where everyone...
We rush things all the time. We need to stop and talk. Stop and listen. And what I love about PFP was the fact that we're constantly reminded of give her another round of applause. Right, now that we've had an opportunity, I love the way this is going because now it gets us moving. Yeah, because I have this watch that tells me you need to move. You need to get up. And it normally irritates me, but now the watch is quiet. It's actually giving me a thumbs up. So, yeah, well done. I spoke earlier of celebrations and who we need to celebrate. We speak a lot about the principals that learn so much from business leaders, the business leaders who also learn so much about some of the business leaders come into your office and they say, wow, the last time I was in a principal's office was when I was naughty as a child. And you learn so much about the school environment and how similar and how different it is. But tonight, we also need to celebrate the founders. And I'm going to give that opportunity to Komala now, who's going to really honor Dr. Louise van Rijn, and I believe Principal Ridwan Samudin is not here tonight. In his absence, he's going to be honored. And we need to give honor to where this all started, who is still driving it, and so forth. So, without any further ado, Komala, please come up. Let's give her another welcome.
Okay. I want to just thank Penny for that connection session. I really enjoyed it. There was something special there. I don't know if you noticed that. You were meeting, hopefully you went to somebody you didn't know before, but you were connecting with somebody who actually has very similar aspirations as you, very similar leadership goals and South African goals. So there's an opportunity there. I don't know what that opportunity will mean, but don't lose that. Take the business cards and phone numbers and keep in touch because this community is powerful. So we are going to spend some time appreciating our two co-founders, Louise and Ridwan. We don't need to, we want to.
Yes.
Ridwan is not here tonight. Louise has fantastically flown up from Cape Town to join us. We did celebrate Ridwan last week in Cape Town, so we won't focus too much on him. The focus for tonight is going to be Louise. But before I go into appreciating Louise, I first need to explain a little bit about Partners with Possibility. So a lot of you in the room know all about Partners with Possibility because you've been on the program, you have your experience, you are currently having an experience. But there's some of you are sitting and wondering, why do you keep talking about PFP? What is this thing? Right? So just a very brief overview so you get an idea of why we all feel moved to appreciate our co-founders today. So Partners for Possibility is our flagship program. It is first and foremost a leadership development and support program for school principals. There are many other powerful elements to the program. Louise will talk about Partners for Possibility as being a multifaceted gem. But I think for today, let's just focus on that aspect, the leadership development and support. Now, what I have learned, and I've learned this through my own PFP experience, is the leader of a public school in South Africa has one of the toughest leadership challenges there is. Not only does that leader have to deal with all the usual issues that any leader of any organization must contend with. So, finance, cash flow, budgeting, HR, marketing, sales. Okay, we don't call it sales at schools, we call it fundraising, but it's very similar. IT, they have to support their teams with instructional leadership. But for many of our principals, and especially the principals serving under-resourced communities, they have additional challenges. They must be able to deal with the socioeconomic challenges within the community that surrounds the school. The socioeconomic challenges that the learner brings into the school. That learner can't just leave it at the school gate. It comes into the school with them. And we were talking about it in our little school connection group. Emotional trauma from crime or gangsterism in the neighborhood. Poor nutrition and health due to poverty and insufficient access to public services. Insufficient parental involvement, not because they don't want to. Every parent puts their child's education as a priority. So it's not because they don't want to. It's often because they're exhausted from work or because they don't know how to, because they haven't had the chance to see that example in their own lives. So these are just some, and there's a whole long list, but these are just some of the additional challenges that school principals have to deal with. All things that affect what happens in that classroom. It's not just about the teacher development, teacher training, having a fancy computer lab, which we all want for all our schools. It's also about dealing with those realities from the community. So one of the things I love about Partners for Possibility, being on the program, is that I find it to be an absolute privilege to support these school leaders. These are community change agents. They have the ability to find solutions to the issues in the community through mobilizing, not on their own, right? We don't do things on our own. We do it with support. So through mobilizing other community members, through mobilizing their staff, their teams, they can find solutions to these problems that are not easy to solve. We all know that. If they were easy to solve, we would have solved it already. So that's what Partners for Possibility does. We provide tools and skills for these school leaders to be change agents and drive change in their schools. And we do something quite unique, because you've heard a lot of this business leaders. We invite a business leader to partner with a school principal. And the word partnership is important because, and I've explained that earlier as well, partnership means something different from mentoring. Partnership is an equal relationship. And that's what we want to encourage. There shouldn't be a hierarchy. I love that you love Cecil and the fancy, but really there's nothing better there. People are not better there than in the school. They're not. We're all people. So we invite business leaders to partner with school principals. They together go on a 12-month leadership development journey, supported by amazing facilitators like Penny. You've already had experience of Penny's energy. We've got amazing LPFs like that. And they work together. The school principal must drive it, of course. That's their area. The business leader supports. But they work together to develop and implement a school improvement plan that's going to ensure that that school is an environment where quality teaching and learning can take place. Quality learning and teaching. My school principal partner, that was her mantra. She would always say it. Inspiring her team. That's why a school is there. So we have beautiful stories of the successes of our PFP partnerships. I know Eden is going to share her story. I'm really looking forward to that. We have schools where teacher motivation has increased dramatically, where SMTs and SGBs are more effective. They're working together for the betterment of the school. We have schools where parents are much more involved in the school. Attendance at parent meetings have gone up. There's more community involvement. The school is becoming the center of the community. We have schools where parents have come together to protect the schools from vandalism and looting. Stories from the KZN violence last year. Schools that are becoming truly cherished as a true community asset, which is what schools should be. So I'm going to let Eden share her own personal journey. I know a little bit of it, and it's a beautiful journey. But this program and the impact it's had on so many people across the country, on so many children and so many communities, this is why we want to take the time today to appreciate our co-founders. Now, Ridwan, very quickly, he was the first principal to go on the program, together with Louise, who was the first business leader. They started in 2010, and Ridwan says 17th July, the day before Madiba's birthday. Ridwan has just recently won the Kader Asmal National Lifetime Achievement Award, which is a recognition. I think it's the ultimate recognition an educator in South Africa can get. We're very proud of him. If you go to his school, and just experience the feeling of the school. You'll have no question why he won that award. Louise has also recently won a very prestigious award, and that was the Thinkers 50 Award, Ideas in Practice. And the Thinkers 50 is one of those globally recognized awards. I know the top business schools across the world vie to be recognized by this community, and our very own Louise has been recognized there. So just a little bit about Louise's story. Louise founded Symphonia for South Africa, which is now called Citizen Leader Lab, in 2008. As a social entrepreneur, Louise wanted to make a positive difference to the trajectory of our country. So I guess Penny and Louise can say, she probably sat down one day and thought about how she can make a difference. And this is what's happened. She pulled together some of the best minds in our country and globally with the aim of developing solutions to the biggest problems that we have in our country. And she early on recognized that cross-sectoral collaboration was a critical part of the solution. As I said earlier, we can't do this alone. And active citizenship, mobilizing people like the people in this room, is a big part of that solution as well. So in 2010, as I said, they started the first ever Partners for Possibility partnership. I've spoken already about the impact it has on the school principal and the school and the surrounding community. It also impacts the business leaders. I was not expecting to be impacted the way I was personally on the program. It has a way of connecting you and grounding you as a business leader going into the community. It connects people of different race, different genders, different social classes. And we need that in our country. We're unfortunately still too divided. So as a nation building program, Partners for Possibility is quite unique. And one of the things I love about Partners for Possibility, it is an exemplar of asset-based community development. And that is where local leaders are enabled to drive change and implement context-driven solutions in their communities. That's what we do, right? We never go and tell a principal what the solution is. The principal knows what the solution is. We just provide the tools and the support for them to be successful. So Louise, I would like to personally express my heartfelt appreciation to you for this program that has changed so many lives, and I know will continue to change so many lives for the better. We have a small gift in appreciation. If you can just join me to receive it, and everyone, if we can just give a heartfelt round of applause. Okay, so I'm sure you've had enough of me, so that's my bit for night. Ethan, will you please share your story of PFP?
All right. I'm a storyteller, and my story must be told, I suppose. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my story is simple. I heard of Partners for Possibility at a SAPA conference, the South African Principals Association, and I will never forget that day when I heard what the benefits were. I wanted to be on board. And I really inspired. I applied first time, nothing happened, because there's so many principals who want to be part of the program. And eventually, when I was eventually, I was so excited. But I had the wrong idea. Just like people in the school thought, now we're going to get money and lots of resources, and it's just going to go well. I had it all wrong. Partners for Possibility is about enriching us more than just getting money. When the program started, I was introduced. At first, it feels like New York City. When the program started, The first meeting was at the school where I'm appointed, and it was absolutely amazing. I didn't meet my partner there because she was on business in Cape Town. But I met a wonderful leader. Kay, I'm sure you are well known. You can just wave there. Kay was my circle leader. And man, Kay is absolutely amazing. You know, she took me from being a very scared, uptight principal, because it's not easy being a principal, to someone who has so much confidence. I learned so much through the programs, and with fantastic business leaders like my business leader partner, Kerry, as well as Komala and many others. We formed a community that was absolutely, absolutely awesome. I learned so many things. The community building taught me how to work with communities, get them to talk to each other, feel safe in that space. One of the things I learned, and I keep reminding my staff about that, is that I am not the expert in the room. That is why we sit in a circle. And they would often say to me, "Ma'am, but you're the principal, you should know. Ma'am, you're the principal, you should have the answers." And I keep reminding them, I don't sit with all the answers. I'm the principal to facilitate the conversation, to encourage the conversation. And that is how people have learned to actually take part and not to hesitate in doing what you know you are good at, and to encourage that. And that has been a lesson that I've learned over and over at PFP. The biggest lesson ever that I learned in this program is to listen. You know, I was the type of person that if you're in the room with me, I'll take notes. Okay, repeat yourself, blah, blah, blah. No, that notebook doesn't exist anymore, because I've learned to listen. One of the teachers called me one day and said, "You know, I miss that." A teacher that's not with us, she's with another school, and she said, "I miss that. You are a person that listens." And I didn't even realize how much it impacted her. One lady called me one night, one of the teachers as well, she sent me a WhatsApp message. She said to me, one thing I appreciated about her, she was sharing very personal things with me, and I didn't have advice for her. I didn't know what to say to her. She said, the fact that you were just listening quietly. And that is something I learned at PFP, that we are so often ready to respond, to take notes and to just be the expert. But one thing I definitely appreciate about the program is developing me in a way that I'm able to get to the level of people where they feel safe. And I really want to thank, one day I broke down in my partner and with Kay. We were sitting at Nedbank, and we had this conversation where I felt the staff isn't listening to me. The staff think I am this miracle worker. They just want. And one of the things that they both encouraged me to do was to allow myself to be vulnerable. I didn't think that was something, you know, when you walk into the staff room, you're the iron lady. When you deal with your learners, that strong person. But that day I learned that you can be vulnerable, and vulnerability is not necessarily a weakness. And they introduced me to the videos of Brene Brown. And I went home and I watched one of her videos, and I couldn't stop. I looked into getting some of her books and all that. What inspired me most was
finance, cash flow, budgeting, HR, marketing, sales. They don't call it sales.
And just last Monday, I was talking to the staff, and there was something that upset me. And I needed them to know and understand how I feel. That I'm also human. And once they can identify with you and say, "Oh, she can also be, she's also like us." We're here to help each other. There's no one better than the other. You'll be amazed how much more you can do and achieve with the people you work with. I've experienced that with staff members, with parents, with learners. It's amazing how you can put learners together in a room, let them sit in a circle, and you tell them, let's have a contract here. Nobody interrupts anybody else. You only talk when it's your turn. You listen to, and they actually find answers where I don't have to provide a solution. They actually come up with the solution. So I want to say thank you so much for what I've learned at PFP. Oh, we did a lot of traveling. I've seen schools that I didn't ever think I would, because there's lots of work to be done in terms of getting to know different communities and so forth. And that has been absolutely, absolutely awesome. And you learn to appreciate what you've got, take what you can learn, and you bring it to your school. And at the end of the day, your school is actually so much richer than when you had started. And I would encourage anybody who's never been part of the program to join. And yeah, so thank you very much to PFP. It has been an amazing journey. And even 3 years later, those, is it 4? Why am I counting all wrong? Counting all wrong, yeah. 4 years later, those are still things I practice. When they want to put tables in the staff room, I say, move those tables, we're sitting in a circle. And then someone wants to sit at the back of someone else, I said, no. We're sitting in a circle, and we will listen to each other. And that's the beauty of feeling safe in that space, safe in that room, and helping each other. So thank you so much once again for that amazing experience. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I really don't need, I actually thought, how am I going to introduce the guest speaker? Because everybody knows him. If you don't know him, you either don't watch the news or you don't pay taxes. So our special guest speaker, and I'm very, very, very excited that I could meet him in person. I'm going to read just a short profile on Edward Kieswetter for those of you who don't know him. You should be ashamed, but I'm sure you'd know him, right? Who's Edward Kieswetter? Edward rejoined as SARS Commissioner on the 1st of May 2019. He had formerly served as the founding group executive of JSE. Edward also held senior executive roles at First Rand Banking Group and Eskom. Most recently, he managed his own investments and served on boards included NE, Transnet, Chair, Technology Innovation Agency, and lead of Western Cape. An honours degree in mathematics and science education, also from the University of Western Cape, as well as a national diploma in electrical engineering from the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Sure. In addition, Edward was awarded the prestigious African American Scholarship and an academic appointment as an associate in education at Harvard University, USA. He is the recipient of several awards, including a Lifetime Achievement for Excellence in Management in 2017 from SAPSO. Finally, all the African Business Awards in 2016, ACO Dealmaker of the Year 2015, and SA Boss of the Year 1999. He serves as a visiting professor at the Da Vinci Institute as well as Free State University, and remains involved as a social activist in his personal capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, this was updated, this short synopsis was updated 21st of the 3rd month 2021. Imagine, since the 21st of the 3rd month 2021, I'm sure he's done even much more. Let's welcome our guest, Edward Kieswetter, with a rousing round of applause. Thank you. Can I just touch your hands so that I can tell? To take a photo of me touching his hands, please, just do. People must know. People must know. Yes, they must know. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So if I ever decided to go into politics, which is never, I would have appointed you as my campaign manager. So good evening. And I'm always intimidated when I'm invited to what I came to know as Partners for Possibility, and now transformed to Citizen Leader Lab. And intimidated because I find myself in the presence of principles, and you know, you are always intimidated by a principle. As a grown adult man as I am now, when I see my principal, I still feel like a schoolboy. Imagine how I feel with a room full of principals. So I'll try my best. So forgive me if I stutter or if I lose my marbles. Can you see that? Okay. So the slides are actually just there to calm my nerves. Makes me like a little crutch I can hold onto. But it's certainly a wonderful pleasure to share the evening with you. And when I had heard about the transformation of the name, I was curious to know what citizen leadership is about, and learned that it is the kind of leadership that happens when citizens feel themselves empowered to be able to influence, direct, and take responsibility to make decisions. And I like that about the principle of agency down to the level of every citizen. But citizens very often requires some catalyst, and that catalyst can be the form of leadership, it can be the form of the role that that Partners for Possibility played under the able founding leadership of Dr. Louise, that has the ability to turn an idea into a movement, and a movement for positive change. I also learned that it is the purpose of this movement to nurture conscious citizen leaders who catalyze positive change in their communities across society, build social cohesion, and work towards achieving a just society. And every single one of those are so much needed in our fractured society today. We have very little social cohesiveness. And if you don't believe me, look at the extent of violence, look at domestic abuse, look at gender-based violence, look at poverty and inequality that have stubbornly persisted, notwithstanding the fact that we have almost 3 decades of a democracy. And so there's absolutely a role for movements such as this, which is also why I am happy to come and share an evening with you. I'm a great scholar of the work of Robert Greenleaf, who is the father, one of the founding proponents of servant leadership. And I saw that connection when I read what citizen leadership is about, because Robert Greenleaf speaks about a servant as a leader and not a leader as a servant, and there's a fundamental difference. It's not just a play on words, because Robert Greenleaf has always believed that one who becomes great at leadership starts out not wanting leadership, but wanting to serve, and then requiring a leadership role in order to expand this sphere of influence. So the leader as servant is one who sets out to lead. In other words, that's their real purpose, to lead. And often wanting to lead is an egocentric ambition. There's nothing to do with the people on whose lives you will impact, because you want to lead, and so you maneuver yourself, you find yourself in a leadership position, and then you realize that if you want to be effective at leadership, one of the dimensions is that you must learn to serve. And so if you start out as a leader, as a servant, then you adopt a servant orientation because you want to enhance your leadership performance. However, if you are a servant as leader, it's very different. Your purpose is not to lead, your purpose is to serve. And incidentally, there can be no other purpose to leadership but to serve. And one who sets out to serve and then steps into a leadership role in order to enhance their serving, not the other way around. And so that's a fundamental difference between those who lead because they want to serve, as opposed to those who serve because they want to lead. And what I wanted to share with you is just a snippet of the story of SARS, whom you know. The Nugent Commission of Inquiry reported that it was significantly damaged. There was a massive erosion of governance and integrity under a corrupt leadership. In other words, the leadership purpose or intent at SARS at the time was to destroy the organization, to render it useless in order to serve the corrupt intent of those who advanced state capture. And I say that unapologetically because the evidence was not just reported in the Nugent Commission, the evidence was palpably visible role and to serve in this privileged position. So we remind ourselves that SARS exists for no other purpose, and the way we can do that best is by building an operating model that is people-centered. An operating model that understands that most taxpayers are honest, want to comply, and how do we build an enabling environment? Whoa. Now we are in the movies. So that is a very pictorial depiction from might and. However, we have articulated for ourselves a higher purpose statement, and it is the reason why we exist rather than our mission or our mandate. And that is, we exist to enable government, to provide them with the financial resources in order that government may transform the economy, the infrastructure, the enabling dimension, but ultimately to improve the well-being of South Africans. There's no other purpose for the creation of SARS, and therefore one must jealously guard that. To allow 12,500 people to be enjoyed, we are snobs when it gets to smart people. We don't want to hire people who are not leergierig. What's the English for leergierig, Theo? Who don't have a natural learning orientation, who don't want to grow. We don't want people who are lazy, who are negative in their attitudes. We discriminate against them. We are unapologetically meritocratic. And so smart and modern is that part. At the same time, smart people can also be evil, smart people can do bad things. So we balance that with the ethos of the organization, which is we want to behave with unquestionable integrity beyond reproach, and we want to be trusted and admired. Now, for a taxman to say he or she or they want to be trusted and admired is a tall order. It understands that we will never be able to build the capacity to enforce compliance on 60 million people and a few thousand companies and traders. And so we have to build a virtuous system where people want to be compliant. Again, a tall order. How do you develop an organization that consciously wants people to pay their taxes and to honor the law. And so that then brings us to a theory of our compliance that says, well, there are three things we have to do. And I'll share that with you later on. But in brief, it is to say, if you help people to understand their obligation, and secondly, if you help them to fulfill that obligation, and thirdly, present a credible threat that if they were to be detected, there would be consequence, then people are more likely to be compliant. Okay? Those of you who are having trouble with your wives, with your husbands not putting their socks where it belongs or dropping the towels on the floor, you can apply those three principles. Okay? Tell them what they need to do. Okay? Help them to do it by putting the laundry bin right there and not in the garage on their way out. And thirdly, blitzen them if they don't do it. So when we reimagined a different organization, because organizations are, a company is just a piece of paper until it receives an anatomy of policies and procedures and technology and data and ultimately soul that is brought about by people. And so when we imagine what it could be, again, we place people at the center of that. I don't know how many of you have heard about the concept of design thinking. It is a kind of thinking that does not start with another bright idea, but a thinking which is deeply empathetic of wanting to change the lives of people. So in design thinking, we say, if you want to design a better home for older people, you can't do that from an ivory tower. You actually have to go and live in the home and live the experience of old people, understand what matters to them, and then design a new old age home. So you can't think about it, you have to actually experience it, put yourself in their shoes. And so empathy is at the heart of everything we do, and we speak about human-centered and responsible automation. So our 9 strategic objectives, which is the depiction of our strategic intent of voluntary compliance. The first 3 are our core business objectives. You'll see there we work very hard to create certainty and clarity. Secondly, to make things easy and in certain cases seamless for taxpayers. And thirdly, where taxpayers for any reason do not comply, for them to be detected and to feel the consequences of not complying. What we have done, and if you go onto our website, you'll see, we've expressed, again, just our people-centeredness. We've expressed every single one. Sorry, I didn't finish the next 4 objectives are what we call our enabling objectives. In order to deliver the first 3, we have to work with people. We have to work with data and technology. We have to work with technology, and we have to use our money as resource stewards, responsible resource stewards. And the last 2 objectives is what we call our stakeholders who administer VAT on our behalf, vendors, tax practitioners who give advice on our behalf. And so we have to connect to a broader ecosystem, and ultimately our biggest stakeholder is the South African public, and sacrosanct to that relationship is confidence and trust. So those are our 9 objectives, and everything that we do is then tailored around that. If you go onto our website, you'll see that we've expressed every one of those 9 as a user experience. In other words, if we achieve it, what would it feel like? And so you can see that on our website. I won't go through that now. In developing our operating model, increasingly we have to rely on people, but we have to evolve the role that people play in our organization from shuffling paper and capturing data and doing routine tasks to increasingly doing more knowledge and service work. And you'll see how we achieve that. To continually expand and increase the use of data using machine learning algorithms and artificial intelligence to give us insights that we would not know. It would be impossible for us to apply our mind to every return that we receive, to every piece of data, and to come up with a comprehensive outcome or assessment in the time that we need to do it. and then technology to provide the interface between us and our stakeholders. So I want to share with you some examples of demonstrable human-centered digital transformation that took us, as I said, from highly paper, highly manual organization to a first world, highly digital organization. And we are the first to say that we cannot yet declare victory. We still have a long way to go. So let me share with you some of our use cases. Those of you, and there are very few of you in the room, maybe Theo and myself, who were taxpayers in 2006. The rest of you are too young. We would have counted just under 6 million taxpayers. Those taxpayers, about 4.1 of them were required to submit a return. Remember, we had site, and site taxpayers didn't submit a return. So just over 4 million. Of the 4.1 million tax returns that we received, 4 million came in by mail. They came in by snail mail through the post, or they pushed it through the fakkie in the door, or they came in and dropped the paper return. We had to capture every one of those, every single one. We had editors. We then had to send it back to you to ask for correction. You had to send it back to us. You had to attach all your proofs of payment. And because 4 million people did that manually, only 120,000 did that electronically. Today, of the 25 million taxpayers that we have who are registered for personal income tax, 7.9, about 8 million of them have to submit a return. Of them, you'll see there, you can see the difference. I don't have a pointer, or does this have a... Oh. Careful. Oh, okay. No, this is not a laptop, it's an iPad. It doesn't have stuff like that. Anyway, you can see that in 2022, 4 million against 120,000, 4 million submitted returns electronically. About 600,000 used their phone. By the way, the 4 million could also have used their phone. And 2.9 million didn't have to submit a return at all, because we use third-party data and artificial intelligence to complete their return on their behalf and to present them with an outcome. Okay? And every time someone comes into our offices, we terminate the paper right there. We don't accept your paper. We terminate it right there. We either convert you to an electronic filer, bring your own device, we'll help you, or we'll capture it for you and we send you home with the paper. And by doing that, we disintermediate every paper walk-in into our offices. In 2006, you can see there, this is the third column, you would have waited on average 180 days for your assessment outcome. Today, if you're part of the 3 million who are auto-assessed, you don't wait at all, you get the outcome before you even ask for it. And if you're part of the other 4 million, if you submit, if you open it and you agree with the outcome and press submit, you will receive your assessment in under 5 seconds, almost instantaneously. And if you are not selected if you were not selected for a refund or for an audit in 2006, on average you would have waited 6 months. Today you will get it in under 72 hours. And so that's one use case of transforming in the interest of serving people better, Batho Pele. Okay, it's easy to say it, it's hard to do it. But putting people first is at the center of our transformation. Then there's the auto-assessment case to making it unnecessary for you to file. And you'll understand now when I share with you another slide why that is an important ambition for us. Another $1 billion of impermissible refunds to flow out. In other words, that's 42 billion rand that ends up in the state coffers instead of with dishonest taxpayers. By doing that in personal income tax, we were ran from flowing out. And we've achieved that. First 100 days, we built an additional 30 additional digital applications to make it unnecessary for a taxpayer to come to our office to do 99% of what they need to do, including registering online, verifying bank details online, and is a big number. Previously, that would have been 10 million transactions that would have taken place in our branches. 85% uptake on our digital platforms. By the way, companies are almost 100%, VAT is 100%, up to 90% of our staff to work remotely. We effectively established a call center of one. In other words, you could be in a contact center, working for a contact center, and do that from your desk at home. You didn't have to leave the desk. And so 90% of our staff are enabled, and really converting work from a place where you have to go to something that you have to do. And we have last week just announced a few radical improvements to our employee value proposition, and one of it includes a work from anywhere model. So that's just a few examples of what you can do if you have a people-centeredness, an empathetic approach to the work we do. And you are right smack bang center in transforming the lives of people. And so think about how you would approach that, building an approach that uses people, technology, and data. So what does winning mean? For taxpayers and traders, we have a very simple outcome is we want happy and compliant taxpayers. That's it. How will we achieve that? Well, we don't have any delusion of grandeur that people wake up in the morning and say, I can't wait to get to SARS. No one thinks in their wildest mind, I haven't had a call from SARS in such a long time. I wonder how they are. Let me go and visit them. Let me make an appointment. So what we say is every time a taxpayer has to call us, mail us, contact us, visit us, it is because we have failed. We have done something wrong. And so how do we address that so that nobody ever has to wake up in the morning and say, I have to go and visit SARS? That is our ambition. How do we get there? Well, we start out with a strategic intent to say we accept that most people should comply of their own volition, and the outcome is happy taxpayers. But between that statement of intent and the outcome, where the devil and the detail dabbles with each other. So what we do, firstly, we say we will clarify your obligations, we will conduct webinars, we will issue clarity statements, we will help you complete your returns if you need to, we'll give you advice. Then secondly, we will make it easy, and for standard taxpayers, we'll want to make tax a non-event. Once a year, we want to send you a thank you letter, that's all, nothing else. And we can do that because machine learning, artificial intelligence, access to data helps us do that. Secondly, we have this continuous challenge between providing taxpayers a first-class service, but also managing the risk to the fiscus. I shared with you that whilst we want to service every taxpayer within the turnaround time, we have to be aware that certain taxpayers want to defraud the fiscus. And last year, the total amount of fraud detection that we prevented from flowing out was almost 70 billion. Okay? Now, do you know how much a billion is? It's a big number. 70 billion is an even bigger number. And in the meantime, while we do have failures and we do drop the ball, we want to work hard to reduce waiting times, to improve turnaround times, and to reduce the need for people to come to us. So, just so that you know, we don't have the ambition to improve our queue management times. Our ambition is not to need queues. We don't want to improve our call response times on our contact center, our ambition is for you never to call us. We don't have the ambition to improve our turnaround time to resolve your queries. Our ambition is that you never would need to have any query. So we leapfrog in terms of our ambition, but the path to getting there is hard. But ultimately, we believe if we get there, because this is what we dream and envision of, an end state where we could eliminate the need for any service-related query that you may have. If ever we are going to contact you, it must be because we choose to do so, because we have a concern, we have a risk, we have something that we need to resolve. And if we get there, then we believe we would build and be true to the maxim that the best service is no service. Okay? And so that's our service ambition. So the tax just happens. You don't have to worry about it at all. So that's what winning means for taxpayers. What does winning mean for our employees? Well, the world of work is changing. We are automating increasingly repetitive work. Increasingly, the capturing of data is no longer needed. We have automated 3 million assessments without any human intervention, just using AI and data. And so increasingly, we want the insight from data and artificial intelligence to augment that work so that we produce better and more reliable outcomes. So that's on the evolution of work. Alongside that, we need employees to be engaged. An engaged employee is important because you achieve two things simultaneously. They show up as the best version of themselves, not only doing work, but also through the work they do, they grow as people. And so that's very important. That work is not just a means to earn a living. Work is an enhancement to your life. And I know people talk about work-life balance. I have never believed in work-life balance. I'm still trying to find it if it ever exists. What I do believe is your work must be integral to who you are. It is just another manifestation of your purpose. And if it's intention, then you will never be fulfilled as a human being. And so those are two important things that go hand in hand. So we've built a very clear leadership on the right-hand side. There's a lot of detail behind that, but in essence, we say every leader in SARS must live up to this model. And if you look at it closely, it speaks to the four things that every leader must do, which is to tell a good strategic story. Secondly, to lead the walking of that story by example, to implement. Thirdly, to engage their people. And fourthly, to invest and grow the people for tomorrow. On the outside, we balance stewardship with care and concern, and level 5 ambition, which is about setting yourself a almost impossible goal, but understanding that with humility you can't do it on your own, and balancing that with a service obsession. On your right-hand side, we have what we call our employee engagement model. That is the 5 rights that every employee has, and we say that to our employees, if you don't experience this, your manager is being unfair and unethical towards you. So the 5 rights is every employee has the right to enjoy their work, every employee has the right to understand the meaning and impact of their work, every employee has the right to know what they have to do to succeed, every employee has the right to receive feedback that helps them succeed, and every employee has the right to a fair deal. If you do not experience those 5 things, then don't tolerate your manager because they are being unfair and unethical towards you. As I said, we've just announced a different value proposition that involves some hybrid working arrangements, some career enhancement, some lifestyle considerations, and financial considerations. So we made that announcement last week. If we get all of that right, then our people will show up as the best version of themselves, and we'll get to deliver our mandate. Then our third constituency is government and citizens. There, if we win, then we will achieve that fine balance between making it easy and clear with managing the risk and detecting fraud, to ensure that the right amount of revenue that is due to government is collected, that compliance improves, and that trade facilitation happens. So that's really what we want to achieve for citizens. You can't hear that. Let me just go back. You know why you can't? Because where's the volume for? Is there a volume? With the speaker. Okay. Okay. Let's be quiet and maybe you'll hear a little bit. But you can Google it. Let's see. Yeah?
Could be better.
You can find it on YouTube. It's just Your Tax Matters SARS, and you'll watch it. It's a very evocative advert message. We launched it during COVID to help people understand that your tax matters. And it's really a pun on the word tax matters, because in the first instance, we wanted to make it easy for you to fulfill your tax matters. Tax matters are generally a headache, so tax matters as a noun. And then the second, I believe that the best teachers are servants who have a deep desire to make an impact, for whom teaching is a vocation, not a job. I'm a teacher, by the way. And I think of everything I love doing, I love teaching the most. I have two sons that are teachers. I have a brother who's so teaching is a really important, transformative vocation that I wish more people would be drawn to for that purpose. And then I believe that the best principals are those who are servant teachers who need a leadership role as a principal to expand their sphere of influence, not to earn more money, because I know how hard being a principal is. So if you think that do it for the money, then I know that many of you could probably do other things for more money. I can only imagine that many of you are often despondent, frustrated, feel you're not winning. And I draw from the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse, where the boy says, but we have such a long way to go. Right? And often we think about that, right? And we become despondent. When we were little, when my father took us to the beach, we used to say, how far do we still have to go? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And the horse replied, yeah, but look how far we already have come, right? So I want you to draw encouragement. I want you to draw inspiration, not from how far you still have to go, but how far you already have come. Do you know how far you have come? Some of you will never know how far you have come. Because in order to do that, you have to follow the life of that 12-year-old boy or that 6-year-old boy for the next 50 years to find out how far you already have come. And so my message to you is, don't ever underestimate the sphere of your influence. I show this picture about the powerful influence of the role of principals and teachers. That young man, just switch the lights off quickly for this one. I spoke to my high school principal on Thursday. He was going to meet me at the school, and unfortunately, as a 92-year-old, but he is Victor Ricci, the man in the middle. To the left is Trevor. And when I was inducted of my principal, when I greeted him, he shook my hand and he said to me, I want to tell you, today the school will be so much poorer without you. Do you know what impact that had on my life? But that's what my principal thought of me.
That's the spirit there, ladies. That's the spirit there. Thank you so much, Mr. Kieswetter, for, wow. I've been inspired. Sometimes we actually forget how far we've come. I'm counting the sleep, the school gonna close. It seems so far, but it's just less than a month away. And we stress about it, and we, gosh, just have a look at how far we've come. Thank you so much for that inspiration. And you continue doing even better, strength to strength. You've done amazing work at SARS. I mean, wasn't it amazing? You're still wondering, how am I going to file my tax return, and you got an SMS, it's done this evening. Right, so we have one last item on the program. For us to have been able to be here tonight, a lot of work went into it, and we have a few thank yous that needs to be done. So, if you can just have a little more patience.
Our speaker, Commissioner Edward, we would like to give you some flowers as a token of appreciation. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. She's a former SARS employee.
Then our CEO, Komala, thank you so much for your leadership this year. And then to Penny Shorzy, our beautiful learning process facilitator. Is Penny still here? Where is Penny?
Oh, Penny.
Somewhere there. Penny, thank you for doing our community building session. I'm not going to forget you. Thank you so much, Penny. And our MC, Eden. Eden, thank you for your time and for being a wonderful MC for us. And to Principal Jeanette, is Principal Jeanette still here? Who gave us her beautiful school to have this function in tonight. Where is Principal Jeanette? She's somewhere working, probably, like a principal do. Thank you so much, Jeanette. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And then last but not least, to our Joburg team who arranged tonight and worked really hard to make this a success. To our caterers, Aladia's Kitchen, who has become our preferred caterer in Joburg. And to Munya, thank you guys for doing all our videography and our live streaming. We really appreciate your support through the years. And last but not want to create a future for this nation, each one of us has to get involved in some way or form. And that is what we ask of you. I thank you for your time. We will end the evening with a very short video that Dupuo is going to play for us. You are very welcome to stay after that, have another cup of tea, talk to one of our representatives. Otherwise, we wish you a safe journey home. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you.
I am Precious Komala. I am Precious Komala. There's something possible out there for us. Sometimes it's not that easy to reach. But we must carry on trying, because our future is filled with possibilities. There's hardship all around us. We struggle to be understood, to find peace. We want a future in which we are safe, in which we have purpose. We want to amount to something bigger, better. When we lift one another up, it changes the future. It becomes brighter. We want a future in which we aren't divided by the color of our skin, or by poverty or lack. We all deserve a future in which everyone's potential is seen and reached. A future that breaks down what the past built between us. We want to live in a country that we can love and enjoy. A country that is clean, that is healthy and safe, and that we all care for together. A country that we can be proud of. This is my dream. But nobody gets to their dream alone. We succeed as we join hands and work together. We cannot change the past. What we have is the present. And the only thing we can change is the future. Let's work together to create the future we want.
I was glad to meet you.
Yeah, man. We talk so much about you.
Such a family. Oh my gosh, I didn't know. Oh, look who's behind us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see clearly? Oh, thank you.
We're done.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.